Good day to all of you wonderful viewers out there. I am Awesome Joe, and thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Play Back-to-Back Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be talking about a very in particular TV show, as a matter of fact. We went ahead and saw the great season of WandaVision, then we went off to watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we just finished recently with the Loki series, and now here we are talking about Marvel's What If. And to be honest with you guys, this was something that I was really actually interested in watching. Something that seemed very different, something that is a new step, besides them having to making the Marvel Cinematic Universe into a different route of doing television shows for Disney+, but now having to making the universe animated. And you guys know me already. I hate animation. I hate it. I don't go off to the theater to go watch an animated movie. I really don't. If it's animated, I would either rent it or watch it on streaming services. But never would I ever go to a movie theater and watch something that's animated. It's just not worth my time or my money. So forgive me for saying that, but I just really don't. Me having to being a movie critic, you would assume that I would spend top dollar to watching any movie in general. But I have to draw the line when it comes to watching animated films. I don't have kids. And if I were to have kids, maybe that would be a different story. But in the meantime, it's just me solo. Going to the movie theaters, sometimes with my wife, but the majority is just me. And honestly, if I were to be paying money to go watch a movie, I gotta make sure that it's well worth it. Say, for example, Snake Eyes. Not interested. I'm seriously not interested. The G.I. Joe brand does not capture my interest at all whatsoever, regardless if Snake Eyes looks like a superhero or not. It just did not capture me. And I did not bother to go out and watching that movie just for the sake of the fact that other critics said it was terrible. No, don't get me wrong. I will go and watch a movie regardless if people tell me it's good or bad. It doesn't matter. The fact is, that movie just never caught my attention. But I'm getting off track here, everybody. We're here to talk about Marvel's What If. And I was actually trying to come to a point here, having to saying that because would I have bothered watching this if Marvel was not involved? Meaning that would this be something if the Marvel entitlement was not involved into this? Because that's an in particular subject that I really want to discuss when Shang-Chi releases, and I do a review off of that. Because of course, obviously, I'm going to do a review off of Shang-Chi. That's something that I would really love to talk about. But when it comes to this in particular show for What If, the reason why it captures my interest is because not because of what we know now, that's what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, knowing the fact that what happened at the ending of Loki Season 1, that now we have all these multiple multiple universes going on, the multiverse. We all knew the multiverse was going to happen in Marvel's Phase 4, and how long that was going to be following along continuously. But What If is actually something that really relates to those certain occurrences. And all of that is through the eyes of our main protagonist of the show, which is called The Watcher. And it's actually voiced by Jeffrey Wright. And if you guys are not familiar with Jeffrey Wright, he was on the Netflix Daredevil TV show, and he's actually going to be playing Commissioner Gordon in the upcoming The Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Jeffrey Wright can do as the Watcher. And so far, from what I've seen in these last two recent episodes, the first two episodes, is he doesn't do that bad of a job. I mean, I think that he's really good at acting and actually doing voiceover work here, because the way that I find that the Watcher is performing himself into this show, he's like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt Keeper TV show. If you guys are not familiar with that, it's like the Twilight Zone. Just giving you several different story aspects as to, of course, like the show is called What If. What if this in particular situation was actually in this sort of matter, and vice versa, the other way around. Just giving you many different perspectives as to how the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we know today, if it would have shifted itself into a different course. So that's what's going on in this show, and I love it. I really do love it. Especially, so far that I've seen within the first 2 episodes. I highly admire it. I really do, and I cannot wait to see what else is to come in these episodes. And the thing is that after season 1, they could go as many seasons as they want. There is an open door, a continuous, permanent open door for other opportunities to announce into this TV show. Many different story arcs. I mean, it's just phenomenal, and I love the idea. It kind of gives me the ideas of how those miniature promo TV shows that were like maybe between 5 to 10 minutes long. With the Star Wars, the Clone Wars, not the 3D version that we know that premiered on that's actually canon to the Star Wars universe on Cartoon Network. No. This is a different kind. It was only like between 5 to 10 minutes long, just giving you different variations of how the Clone Wars were from this character's perspective, then another character's perspective in the next one. Just giving you that sort of idea, feel as to how the Clone Wars were. And I find that this is what's going on here. Having to know that since we are getting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming out next year, and knowing that not only will it be featuring Doctor Strange, but also Loki and the Scarlet Witch. So it's very exciting knowing what's to come, and and can't wait for it when it gets here. But this universe is taking itself to a completely different direction away from what we all know and love these last 10 to 12 years already now. Cinematically, the universe of Marvel is still a successful universe, but I really do find that taking the direction of going to TV shows and then now doing this multiverse thing, I think it's just brilliant. I think it's such a brilliant idea, and I mean, they have very talented writers. This is stuff that they've discussed for already over a decade, and having it coming to play, having it to being released out there for the audiences to watch and enjoy, it's just phenomenal. It's a phenomenal experience knowing that these bunch of ideas that collided together is now being given to us Marvel fans, and having an excellent time with. So now the first story, which is episode 1, that is entitled "What If Captain Carter Was the First Avenger?" And this is actually a story that defines as to what happened in the Captain America: The First Avenger movie that was taking place in the 1940s. So instead of Steve Trevor getting into the I don't know how to entitle it, but just that experimental tube, and getting all muscular with becoming the super soldier, instead of it being Steve Rogers, it's been given over to Peggy Carter, which is the love interest to Captain America, which is actually returning, playing the voice of Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell. Now. And even though I'm not very fond of her showing up being all muscular and stuff, she really does kick butt. And I would have loved to have seen a live adaptation of the story. I find it very amusing and very entertaining. I would not have been disappointed if this was the actual Captain America movie. I love Captain America: The First Avenger, don't get me wrong. But I find that this story would have been really interesting. It is still Captain America: The First Avenger, just with Peggy Carter as Captain America instead. Chris Evans has not come back to voice Steve Rogers. As a matter of fact, it was Josh Keaton who plays Steve Rogers. And forgive me, I have a whole list of notes here, and just to make sure I don't get any brain farts. But yeah, Josh Keaton plays the voice version of Steve Rogers. And, I mean, you could have fooled me. I would have thought that it was Chris Evans, because they have a lot of voice similarities, so I find that it worked. But even though that he does not become Captain America in this episode, it still doesn't stop him. He still has the heart of an Avenger, which is he is given the opportunity to become something else rather than Captain America. He becomes the first Iron Man in the 1940s, which is given unto him by Howard Stark, which is also returning voice Dominic Cooper as the younger Howard Stark. Which is called the Hydra Smasher, alongside with Captain Carter, which is not Captain America, is now Captain Carter. Which I wish it could have been Captain Britain or something like that. I think that would have been more sufficient. But Captain Carter seems a lot more, much more better. But yeah, they fight alongside each other, and you get so many returning voices from the original movie, the Captain America: The First Avenger. You got Sebastian Stan coming back as Bucky Barnes. You get, of course, Dominic Cooper, Stanley Tucci coming back. You got Toby Jones as Zola. Let's see here. You even got, well, I'll talk about those in a little bit here, but the one that doesn't come back is Hugo Weaving. I loved Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull, and I know he didn't come back when Red Skull came back in Infinity War and in Endgame, because he was replaced by Ross Marquand, who is in the Walking Dead TV show, and he comes back to voicing the Red Skull. So I was a little bit bummed out about Hugo Weaving not coming back, even to just at least voice the character. But I find that Ross Marquand does his own character, even though that he is completely covering over what Hugo Weaving did in the first Avenger movie. So, but still a good guy. I really do. I do admire and appreciate what he does with the Red Skull character. But yeah, they go against this. I don't know, the Red Skull. Instead of him using the Tesseract to invent these weaponized handguns, now instead of weaponizing the Tesseract, he uses the Tesseract to open up another dimensional portal and letting in the symbol of Hydra, this octopus, large, monstrous type of being. And Captain Carter runs into the rescue and just pushes that being through the dimension, and so does Peggy Carter as well. And so in the original story, Steve Rogers doesn't get killed off, but he saves the day. He saves the world by getting frozen by stopping a bomb, and he's frozen through time throughout the next 70 years, and becomes Captain America in modern day when he's unfrozen. So this is different. So when Peggy Carter pushes that squid-like being through the portal, she goes along with it, and time jumps. She's not through a frozen sleep for the next 70 years. No. She pops up in modern day, which is, of course, 2012, the time of the first Avengers movie, in the way of how Loki appeared himself onto in the beginning of the first Avengers movie. So instead of Loki, it's actually Peggy Carter. So I find that pretty cool. And on the other side, you get Sam Jackson and Jeremy Renner coming back voicing Nick Fury and Hawkeye. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it ends in the way on how Steve Rogers, I get those two mixed up. Steve Rogers is bummed out because, now he doesn't get to see and dance with the love of his life, and same goes vice versa with Captain Carter. So, and that ends the episode there. And one thing I really did admire about this episode is on how it explains itself. The Watcher explains itself as to why this in particular story took place, and it was when Peggy Carter decided, instead of going up into the room upstairs to visualize the experiment, she decides to stay downstairs, and then that Hydra spy triggers the bomb, and that's when Steve Rogers gets injured, and that allows Peggy Carter to take in Steve Rogers' place as the Captain Carter. So I like that. I like that idea of what they do there. I don't see it being a continuous habit on how that's going to happen with all these other episodes. Excuse me. Different storylines, but I like the tone what they did there. So far that I've been finding out on Rotten Tomatoes is that they've been rating these shows so far at 100%. which I was pretty much okay with. I admire these episodes very well. And mind you, this is only episodes 1 and 2. I only talked about episode 1. I'm still talking about episode 2 right now, which I just finished watching. That's why I'm doing this video. Trying to do 2 episodes at a time. Sometimes I try to do the entire season altogether, but if I have the right amount of energy and if I have the right amount of time, guaranteed I will go ahead and do 2 episodes at a time. But for me, I went ahead and rated What If Captain Carter Was the First Avenger at a 92%. Remember, not everything is perfect. It's going to have its flaws. I'm going to criticize a few things. There are times when I can go ahead and just rate the entire thing a 100%. I have done it before in the past, but I find that something like this, giving it a 92%, is much more sufficient. Having so, I love the animation. I really do love the animation. It's just phenomenal. I really did admire it so much. I'm not too fond of the 3D type of animation. I admire more of the 2D, the original 2D version, but this was actually pretty great. Now that we're going to go ahead and be talking about episode 2 of What If, this one is entitled What If T'Challa Became Star-Lord? With the first episode and this episode, these are actually the 2 highest ones that really marketed it itself when having to announcing to the audiences, the viewers out there, that what this show has in store. It really brought up a lot of anticipation, especially with this one. Why? Because of the story of T'Challa becoming Star-Lord, which really got a lot of people scratching their heads here, because we all love Peter Quill. Alright, but the thing is that this one, it bases T'Challa off taking his place. And what happens at the beginning is, instead of Yondu, which is actually returning voice of Michael Rooker, which is a brilliant guy, and being back is just phenomenal. But Yondu having to instead of kidnapping in the sorts, kidnapping Peter Quill, instead of kidnapping Peter Quill, he's kidnapping T'Challa. And I kind of scratched my head there too, because I'm like thinking, okay, because Peter Quill is in Missouri, but yet T'Challa is in Wakanda in Africa. So I'm just like, how could he have mixed those up, getting the wrong child? So something like that really made me scratch my head. But I tried not to put too much attention on that and just focus on the story. But what T'Challa does is, he is completely different of what Peter Quill is. That we know of in this episode, T'Challa is actually Star-Lord. And instead of Star-Lord not being known by the galaxy as being this awesome dude, T'Challa is. This Star-Lord actually is. Like in the movie, the character Korath, which is actually returning voice Jimon Hunso. I think I pronounced it right this time. He comes back and he knows who Star-Lord is. He is like a fan of Star-Lord. Star-Lord has been an awesome addition to the galaxy and has done so much good and so much changes in this galaxy that a lot of returning characters come back here and voicing over these characters. Like, let's go ahead and go with Nebula, which is played by Karen Gillan, voiced by Karen Gillan. She came back, and this one is very different. She looks very different. She's got the long blonde hair. She's not bald. She's not mechanically insertions or anything like that. She is, she's not physically and mentally damaged by her father, Thanos, which actually is in this episode and is not a bad guy. He's actually one of the good guys. He's one of the scavengers. Returning voice of Josh Brolin. That's so awesome. But because of the awesomeness T'Challa, aka Star-Lord, in this version of the What If TV show, Thanos has come to his conclusion that he doesn't have to do these things. He doesn't have to be this Titan, this galactic tyrant, attacking every single one of these planets and destroying half of its existence. I don't know. If you can change Thanos, man, that's a huge deal. So T'Challa is very special. You get so since Thanos is no longer the Mad Titan of the galaxy, somebody has to fill in those shoes. Which comes in the Collector, which is played by Benicio del Toro, returning voice, Benicio del Toro. And I actually loved the Collector as the villain in this episode. I really did. I would have loved to have seen the Collector as a villain in a live-action Marvel film, because I love the way that how he is named the Collector and uses his capabilities in fighting the good guys. So I really did love that. And there's a lot of Easter eggs that you see throughout this entire episode when it comes to the Collector. Not only do you see a lot of remembrances that you've seen him in when he's in the live action movies, but here you get to see, which doesn't make any sense, and I don't want to get into too much detail of that, is, you know, like the Captain America's shield, Thor's hammer, Dark Elf's daggers. You even got Hela's helmet, which he actually uses to fight against T'Challa. And so, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff going on there. You get Sean Gunn coming back voicing Kraglin once more again. You get Chris Sullivan coming back as Taserface, one of the many funny things of Volume 2. And you even get Seth Green coming in here, playing Howard the Duck. You see a lot more. You don't get to see a lot of him in this episode, but you get to see a huge amount of him in this episode, more than you have compared to his other appearances in the other Marvel movies, the 2 Galaxy movies, and then little appearance in Endgame. But getting to see him here, still returning voice Seth Green, he must get paid a lot of money and must love having to play Howard the Duck. Even though the original Howard the Duck movie in the 80s was a complete massacre, I would actually be interested in getting to seeing a modern day rebooted version of Howard the Duck movie, a much more better adaptation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would love to see that. And then towards the ending of the episode, you get, since Peter Quill was not abducted by Yondu, he is still on Earth, and he's actually a janitor at the same Dairy Queen that we see in Volume 2, with Kurt Russell coming back as Ego, his dad, recruiting him, picking him up, reuniting with his son, and according to the Watcher, Jeffrey Wright's character, that there is going to be a whole other story in connections to that reunion. So I'm really excited to get into seeing what's going to happen next. I believe that the 3rd episode is going to feature Doctor Strange and Thor, if I am not mistaken. I know that there's so many other stories that were marketed with this series that I cannot wait to watch. I know that there's Zombie Avengers. I know that there's an alliance between Tony Stark and Killmonger. I know that there's one where Spider-Man is Doctor Strange. Things like that. I can't wait to see those. I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. I don't know how many episodes are going to be. I think so far that I've known, there's going to be 6 episodes within all of these seasons of Marvel series. I could be wrong. I would love to see more. I could never have enough at 6. Like WandaVision had 9. I wish these series would have 9 episodes or even more. I just cannot get enough. It's phenomenal. But like I said, in the first episode, they gave it a 100%. They did the same thing with this. I actually enjoyed the second episode more than I did the first one. I love the first episode, but the second one just really picked up the stakes. And so Rotten Tomatoes giving it 100% for this. I still admired this and loved it so much, giving it a 96%. So fantastic. I loved it. Had a great time. I cannot wait for episode 3. Next time I'm doing like I said, if I have the energy and the time, I will go ahead and do another video based off of this series within the next 2 episodes. So in 2 weeks from now, I should be working on that. But had a lot of fun with both of these episodes, and can't wait to see what's going to come up next. I'm so excited. So there you have it, everybody. That is my review for the first 2 episodes of Marvel's What If. Did you guys check them out? If not, go ahead and do so on Disney Plus. They are available right now. They come out every Wednesday. And then, I don't know, it's just going to be a lot to come. I cannot wait to talk about. I believe my next movie review I'm going to be doing is on Shang-Chi, which is coming out on September 3rd. So I'll be checking that out. Hopefully it's going to be awesome. Hopefully it's a lot better than Black Widow. I really do hope so. Crossing my fingers for that. But anyways, everybody, if you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section on the bottom. Let's have an awesome time talking about this TV series or movies, whatever it is that you would like to talk about, because I love to talk about movies and TV shows. But most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos. Just look me up at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews on Facebook and on YouTube. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everyone having to supporting my channel. It is a huge personal hobby of mine that I love to share amongst all of you wonderful viewers. So I really do appreciate everyone for that. So once more again, I'm Awesome Joe. Keep on living the dream. And as always, stay awesome. Thanks you guys once more again, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.